Yep. And then hit record.
And then there's people in the
Yep.
more.
Yep, more, and then record. Yep. And then those folks.
Welcome to all of you that have been locked out.
Thank you. Sorry, I should have stopped from the beginning. Tracy had just teamed me, so.
Okay, we will go on to item 9. Update on digital sign project for the south side of the courthouse property. Jake.
Commissioners, good morning.
Morning.
Just an update on the EMC sign that's going on the south side of the courthouse here. It's quite sorted, but it has been tabled at the Planning Commission. We originally had a approval for that variance back last fall. By the time we had awarded that to a contractor and they pulled a permit, that current variance had expired. We submitted another variance request, and at that time of the meeting, there was only 4 folks at the meeting, and all 4 of them would have had to support the sign. One commission member was not in support of it, so I requested that to be tabled. It is going to be back on the agenda for the July 14th Planning Commission meeting to have that reheard. And hopefully we'll have more of a quorum there to pass that. And I had provided 2 other options. Some of the folks there at the Planning Commission, they were a little concerned about the size, that it was really high and really big. And I said, we're trying to get messages out, so we want it really high and want it really big. But I said I'd bring a couple, maybe 2 other options before the board to consider a shorter sign by a little bit. And I have worked with Schlosser Sign, who is our contractor, and they have already provided us 2 alternate sizes to take to the commission on the 14th. And I mean, a couple of items might be of interest to you. One of the proposals was to move the sign to the library, which that wouldn't quite work. We're trying to follow the city code as much as possible. And we would have to ask for more variances if we put it at the library than if we put it out at the county building here on the south side. I don't think it's really that great of an option. So in a nutshell, that is an update on where we're at with the sign.
So I got an earful about location in the downtown development district, and I have sympathy, right? They don't want to put signs everywhere downtown. They're trying to maintain the downtown district.
Correct.
So, I know the library is outside the downtown district.
It's interesting. Yes, sir. The library is outside of the district, and the way that the zoning district is shaped, this building is the only building on this north side of Grand that is in the DC zoning district. We could put this sign right directly across the street from where we want it in front of the UPS station, UPS store without any variance. It is completely permitted. We could put it in front of the jail over here without a permit or without a variance. It would just be permitted by code. We could put it in front of Ace right across the street without having any variance. So it's just this building. And there was another proposal that maybe we would want to look at trying to change the zoning of this, but because it's we have to the end of the year.
We obligated our federal or our ARPA dollars to this project. They are already obligated. I cannot go back on that. So I need this project to happen, or else we're sending money back to the federal government, which I don't think any of us want to do. So obligation period was December 31st, which we did. The completion of the project has to be December 31st, 2026. So we still have time to complete the project, but we need this variance to do that. And Jake and I have had multiple conversations, and at this point I decided you guys need to be aware of what's going on.
So yes, Commissioner Gosar, to your point, that it is a concern that it's close to the downtown district, and we don't want a lot of signs that are kind of occurring and making it like a Vegas strip as it has been.
Have they expressed concern that it won't be tactfully done, or it was okay last year and it's not okay this year?
So
Okay, the county
it's a sort of
answered that question for me.
The issue with that. So the concern now is that when it was previously approved, Lamar Sign, who has the big billboards up, they wanted to put one up to the EMC, one of those to an EMC sign.
Oh, I listened to the whole conversation, yes.
So that's what kind of caused hesitation this time around, is because of that and them trying to use this project as a precedent for something that's not applicable.
So the trouble with the library is what? Jay?
Well, it's in a residential zoning district, so the sign is not permitted there. So we have to ask for a variance. There are different code requirements, and it's a bigger ask for a variance. And then we would have to ask for, instead of just one variance, asking for the sign to go in a downtown district, we would have to ask for a variance for the sign, for the size, for additional illuminations, and then we would have to ask for a variance to be able to display information for an off-site EMC, because it here, as I kind of understand it, the commissioners reside here. Anything that we put on that sign on site is applicable countywide. If we put it in the library, we could advertise for library things. So we would have to ask for a variance for that.
Because they don't want like a billboard sign in the middle of town. It has to be related to what's happening at that site.
Well,
Correct.
I don't have a problem with advertising what's happening at this site at all.
No, but that's
Right.
one of the problems with the library site.
So it would be several more variance requests that we would have to provide support to instead of just one variance.
So here we have just one.
Correct. Maybe two, but they're both in line with the same.
It's easier to parse at this site. It seems only natural to have it at the courthouse.
Right, and if IT is here and we were gonna run a solid link or a wired link instead of Wi-Fi, so nobody could hack into it.
Yeah.
I don't know the logistics.
Some special thing, yeah.
Right, yeah, I don't exactly know the logistics of getting it in front of the library and be able to get IT to do it from here, so.
I think the whole idea was just to get a way to communicate with people,
Yes.
and I guess we need to communicate with the city. I mean, a couple of options would be great, right? If they can't have it here for whatever reason, where can they have it? And if it's at the city, we don't have many buildings, so we have the library. And then the other only option I can think is out at the fairgrounds, right? But that is,
But
They're already getting one.
yeah, so.
Yeah, I mean, alternatively, a little bit of a different approach, and I don't think this would happen based on our budget restraints or our timeline on that budget, is to work with the city to come up with an agreement to put it next door in front of like the jail in the parking lot. But that would require losing some parking, and I don't think the city would be overly excited about that either.
Yeah,
But that is one other option.
so where it goes would be, I mean, yeah, I've heard from the garden club, they don't want it there either, right?
Right, yeah, there's a lot of conflicting interests anywhere we go.
Yeah, so if we could figure out where, I mean, I think we wouldn't be too hard pressed to have it exactly where we want to have it. We'd just like to have it. And then everybody needs to be spent. So be nice, Jake, and I know you probably tried to work this angle, like where can we do it?
Yeah, and I can talk to IT, and if we can, yeah, I'll look into it, other alternative options, but it kind of puts the timeline in a little bit of a questionable stance if we can get it somewhere else and get everything done by the time you said December 31st of this year.
No,
Next year.
26.
26. Okay, we could probably
Oh, 26.
26. So
Yeah.
okay.
That's better. I would like it to be here.
Right.
This is where, and that's just my 2 cents.
I think if it goes anywhere else, somebody's gonna say we didn't spend tax dollars wisely, because that is the best
Exactly right.
location.
Right.
Where do people gather when they want to be seen and heard? And that sign would be immediately behind them and not detract from those efforts. And
Well,
that's-
and it's here, and so if we have to have the courthouse closed for some reason, or we might need to remind people that they go to the north door, not the south door. Voting is at we
Yeah.
need it here.
Flu vaccines, it makes sense.
We
You
know
see
the
a sign on
vaccines.
Grand.
Yeah, they had thought about traffic problems too, people gawking at the sign as it went around trees.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think there'll be 15 lines. There'll be,
Right.
Yeah,
Maybe the north, maybe they're more excited about us putting out the sign up in north. I mean, and that ways, that brings everybody from the north. I don't
right,
know.
that was an option, but we got the most traffic on Grand.
Oh,
So it makes the most
absolutely.
sense. If we're trying to get a message out,
Yeah.
I think we want to put it where the most people are going to see that
Yeah.
message,
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could put it over here on the west side
Right.
and nobody would see it, but
That's
we
right.
would be able to do
Yeah,
it fairly easy.
Yeah.
We could put it on the outskirts of town too, and it would be
Yeah.
Right.
absolutely useless unless a road closes.
Right. I mean, and it's like we're asking for a variance of what the commissioners directed, me to ask for, not listen to the commissioners of what alternatives they think are best. We're asking for what we want, not asking them what we can do. It's a variance process. So,
well,
so
I
in
can
a
tell
nutshell,
you've been
that's
having fun.
say again.
Been having fun.
Your version of fun.
Yes. So if there's no other questions, that's my update.
Keep on keeping on.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
will do my best. All right. Thank you.
Item 10, present for approval memorandum of understanding between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming and Rocky Mountain Power Blue Sky in the amount of program for installation of solar panels at the Albany County Search and Rescue Building in the amount of $78,084 through December 31st, 2025. Haley.
Morning, commissioners. So this you've seen quite often recently. It's just the agreement, the MOU with Rocky Mountain Blue Sky program to complete those solar panels out at the search and rescue building.
Well, thank you for wading through that, Bailey. It's not supposed to be that way and that difficult. But it has become that way, isn't it?
Mhm. And we are gonna try to, they only gave us 6 months to complete the project. There's a little bit of wiggle room for extension. I already have an email out asking what we would have to do if we need the extension. That's why your next item is the RFP to be released, because we're gonna get moving on this right away. Because I'd like it done by the end of the calendar year anyways, to apply for those credits, to make sure those credits are still there.
Well, if there are no more other questions, I'd like to move to approve the MOU between the Board of Commissioners, County of Albany, Wyoming, and Rocky Mountain Power Blue Sky program for the installation of solar panels at the Albany County Search and Rescue Building about $70,084.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 11, present for approval, request for proposal for design installation of 25 kilowatt solar array at the Albany County Search and Rescue Building and direct the clerk to advertise. Jay,
morning
good
again.
morning again.
This is just an RFP to advertise for the solar panel that down at the search and rescue building they're going to be a pole set on the south side of the site, and we kind of are just delegating the design of all that electrical system to the solar panel company that is granted the award. And in a nutshell, that's what the project is. Has a couple batteries on it, or at least one battery.
I think it's 40 kilowatts. I don't know how many batteries.
So you're looking to have bids back by the first week of August, it looks like? Okay,
Yeah, it's quick.
okay. Is there enough information published now? I would imagine so with all the area, for a contractor to provide a bid without doing the optional walkthrough?
Yes.
Okay.
Or if not, they're taking that at risk to do that. So we have the option of doing a walkthrough.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the request for the proposal for design and installation of the 25 kilowatt solar array at the Albany County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Building and direct the clerk to advertise.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Jake.
Bailey.
Item 12, present for consideration the Dunlap zoning District Amendment ZDA-04-25. Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. All right, the applicant and owner is Lance Dunlap. This is located at 39 Peakview Road. The request is to change the zoning from ag to rural residential. There were some reviews. Holly Dyer from the Conservation District commented on erosion, soil degradation, and reclamation of disturbed areas. Her full comments can be seen in the review section. The applicant has provided a complete application, including all required documentation. Planning Department believes that the proposed zoning district amendment generally follows the suggestions of the Albany County Comprehensive Plan. This property is currently zoned ag, and a change to rural residential is compatible with existing land use of surrounding properties. This property is going through the zoning district amendment process because the Planning Department has an open enforcement case for having two principal structures on an ag property of 38.85 acres, which does not meet the allowed density. The original enforcement case was opened in 2019, but the landowners were not willing to work with the county to fix the issues that are apparent. A new enforcement was opened in 2024 with a new landowner who is willing to work with the county to fix the issues. And this application is the first step to moving forward with fixing the issues on the property. And there are a couple options for the landowner to continue moving forward with either a subdivision or a conditional use. The findings necessary for approval and applicant responses referenced in this report are adopted as findings reflecting that the applicant has adequately addressed the specified impacts and the same are incorporated herein. The applicant is proceeding in accordance with and is in compliance with the requirements of the Albany County zoning resolution. And the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously voted to recommend the Board of County Commissioners approve the Dunlap Zoning District Amendment ZDA 0425. Adopting and incorporating the staff analysis, findings of fact, and conclusions of law as each are stated in the staff report.
Well, I move to consider the Dunlap zoning district amendment ZDA 0425 and approve it, including the staff analysis, finding of facts, and conclusions of law as each stated in the staff report.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Joe. Okay, item 13, present for consideration renewal of the 2025 mobile home park licenses for Blue Sky Trailer Court, Coronado Mobile Home Park, Country Meadows Estate, Flying X Ranch, Laramie Mobile Home Park, Lenonic Place, Troutman Mobile Home Park, and Vasquez Mobile Home Park. Joe.
Yeah, so all these parks got their stuff in by the deadline, got the fees in and all that kind of stuff. I actually have 3 to add to that list because they got them in within the last week after we had to have our stuff for this meeting. And those are 60 Last.
60 Last.
Yes. Chaparral Gardens and K-Bar D.
Commissioners.
Do we have any enforcement action to take on quality of, if there's an issue, tenant, landlord
No.
on this? This is strictly permitting a trailer park
Yeah.
via the county.
Yeah, we can't do a lot with tenant owner relations. We pass it up the line wherever we can. But yeah.
I knew the answer. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Because
we do
this,
know the answer.
yeah, this is, yeah.
Well, I move we approve the renewal of the 2025 mobile home park licenses as presented, but including 60 Last, Chaparral Gardens, and K-Bar D.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 14, present for approval First Amendment to the contract between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming by and through the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program and Foundation Testing and Monitoring LLC for drug testing services for participants of the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program from June 1st, 2025 through August 30th, 2025. Heather, good
Madam
morning.
Chair, good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. This is to just amend our previous contract. Commissioners just approved our purchase of the analyzer. It will take about 6 weeks to get that here trained. And so this is just extending our original contract with Foundations for Testing for 2 months so we can maintain quality of supervision.
I don't have any.
I don't have it.
I move that we approve the First Amendment to the contract between Board of County Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming, by and through the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program and Foundations Testing and Monitoring LLC for drug testing services for participants of the Albany County Court Supervised Drug Treatment Program from June 1st, 2025 through August 30th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 15, award the bid to Foundations Counseling and Consulting for treatment services for drug court participants and approve contract between the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming, by and through Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program and Foundations Counseling and Treatment Services for participants from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027. Heather.
I'm sorry, these are so wordy. We put out RFP for counseling services for our adult court treatment program. We did receive a bid from Foundations Counseling. They met all of the requirements that we had or requests in the RFP. And so we're asking to award them that contract.
So Heather, during the IOP phase, it says 9 hours of group and individual. Is that 6 hours a group, 3 hours individual? Is that based on the person?
It is 9 hours of group and then one individual on top of that, if it is something that that person needs to do. The individual is determined between the participant and the counselor. Not everybody needs an individual session, but it would be in addition to.
Okay. And then I didn't see a price for the group sessions.
IOP is broke down to $650 per month per participant. And then I have to look at the others. I'm sorry, I don't remember them off the top of my head. It got broke down to aftercare, individual sessions, and evaluations. Our federal grant through SAMHSA has been more specific on wanting breakdown of services per participant. Historically, we have done just a lump sum up to 40 participants, but I think this will help with our reporting back to SAMHSA.
That's all right. It was in there and I read it, so.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's great. And then recidivism, when
Yes.
somebody goes through the process, what percentages are you looking at of people being successful?
We have a pretty high rate of them not recidivating. We're about, and of course it fluctuates from month to month depending how things go, but we're sitting about 15% that do recidivate. So we have a pretty significant amount that don't. We're about 85% for that, which is better than national data for just traditional probation or parole.
Yeah, you'd love it to be 100%, but that,
100%.
but 85% is a
Pretty
fantastic
darn
number.
good,
You
yeah.
should be pretty proud of yourself with the program.
Is this contract picking up where VOA left off?
So we have not contracted with VOA. Foundations was our previous
Okay.
provider. Our next one for VOA is our diversion program.
Okay.
And once we switch to Foundations, they do have a very quality and treatment program, and we're happy with that.
I move we award the bid to Foundations Counseling and Consulting for treatment services to drug participants and approve the contract as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Heather.
Okay.
Item,
Up to that again.
Stuck with me for 6, sorry.
I know, but I like to think that she does a good job. Present for approval, First Amendment to the contract between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming by and through Albany County Court Supervised Program, Adult Diversion Program, and Volunteers of America Counseling for participants to extend the term of the agreement through June 30th, 2026.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, we have previously the last year contracted with VOA for services for our diversion participants. We've only on one or two occasions had individuals, we have contracts with 3 or 4 providers, and we allow participants to choose where they would go. Our agreement with VOA is a little bit different because they do provide the domestic violence assessments and they offer IOP if needed. And so this is just extending that contract or amending that contract for another year. And the funds are secured through our BJA grant.
In light of last week's or 2 weeks ago, where we had to VOA not being able to commit to programs they had committed to, do you have any concerns about that issue with this?
Not at this time. It does take a little bit if somebody's referred there. It takes a couple weeks to schedule the assessment. But I've had no indication they could meet the substance side of things.
Thank you.
That was my concern as well, because Andrew was in last, and we're terminating agreements. Okay.
Yes, I understand completely. Good news is if there is an issue, I'm in process of getting another treatment center contracted with us, so we would have a backup.
Okay. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the first amendment to the contract. Make sure I'm on the right one. Yep. Between the Commissioners of Albany County, Wyoming, by and through Albany County Court Supervised Drug Treatment Program, Adult Diversion Program, and Volunteers of American Northern Rockies for clinical assessment, DV assessment, individual and group counseling for participants to extend the term of the agreement through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 27, present for approval. Item 17, not 27. Present for approval addendum renewal of lease agreement between Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program and Renaissance Realty for transitional participants housing, May 20th, 2025 through July 31st, 2026.
Commissioners, this has been our, as it states, transitional housing that we're able to provide to participants through our SOR funds. That year, 2 years ago, we were able to go into a lease on 2 one-bedroom apartments. We were able to shift last year to the current location, which is a 4-bedroom apartment with 2 bathrooms so that we have separate living quarters. We have been able through this transitional housing to provide housing for participants coming out of jail or inpatient treatment that have nowhere to go. We've been able to house about 14 people over the last year. It's a temporary basis. It's about 60 days each time. And during that time, we're case managing, getting plugged in with employment, other housing resources in town, Cheyenne Housing, all of those. I think with the direction things are going with funding, this will be even more important for our participants going forward, because I know some of the programs we work with potentially have some budget cuts coming. So this is very important to our participants. Some of the biggest things that we hear is, they have their own bed to sleep in. They have their own pillow. They have a washer and dryer. They can clean their clothes. Something that they hadn't had in a while.
Yeah, no questions.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the addendum and renewal of release agreement between the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program and Renaissance Realty for transitional participant housing from May 20th, 2025 through July 31st, 2026.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I do have a question though. Do we need to be redacting, just because I know some of our minutes have been, do we need to redact some of these addresses
We,
in the future?
yeah, maybe we
I guess I
can.
never thought
No.
of that.
Yeah, they don't need redacted.
Okay, I'm just because
We've had issues.
there have been some data mining on the commissioners
Oh, I'm sure.
and polls and, okay.
Thank you, Jennifer.
No, not for legal reasons. No. This would be for malicious intent outside the
right.
county's purpose.
Item 18, present for approval, master subscription agreement for DIMS between Data Again and Treatment and Albany County Commissioners by and through the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program for the call to test drug testing software for the period of June 13th, 2025 through June 12th, 2026. Heather.
Commissioners, this is the drug testing software that goes with the analyzer that we just purchased. This allows us to have a completely separate drug testing software and check-in system for participants that randomizes testing. In addition, this system, because the company also provides our case management software, it integrates nicely and we will not have to double enter any information, which is lovely. So this is just for the purchase of that software.
Heather, do you have to have a CLIA waiver to have this machine?
I don't know what that is.
So it's
Sorry.
a waiver that a non-lab technician can run a lab machine and only certain machines are CLIA waived.
So they have not given me that. This analyzer is ran by specifically other drug court programs. It's not laboratory based.
Okay.
We mail, we would have a lab that's CGS or LSCMI certified that any verifications would need to go through. We would not be providing that level. So we would be the non-laboratory.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Any further
Sorry.
questions?
No, you're fine.
I would move to approve the master subscription agreement for DIMS between Data Gain and Albany County Commissioners by and through the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program for the call to test drug testing software for the period of June 13th, 2025 through June 12th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 19, ratify renewal of master subscription agreement for DIMS between Data Again and Albany County Commissioners by and through the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program for the case management system from May 7th, 2025 through May 6th, 2026. Heather.
Last for me, commissioners, this is just to ratify the renewal of our specific case management system through, excuse me, Data Gains. We have used it for the last year and really like the software. Gives us good reports and analytics as things are going on. And as I mentioned, it integrates with the new drug testing software, which will be lovely. And so we're just asking to continue that agreement.
No questions.
Questions?
I have none. I move that we ratify the renewal of the master subscription agreement for the DIMS between Data Gain and Albany County Commissioners by and through Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program for the case management system from May 7th, 2025 through May 6th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Heather, thank you. Item 20, present for approval lease agreement between the Albany County Board of Commissioners and the American Legion Husted Pendleton, Wyoming Post 114 for Albany County Victim Witness Program of the Albany County Prosecuting Attorney's Office for County Victim Witness Program. I got that all mixed up. I'll start again. Present for approval the lease agreement between the Albany County Board of Commissioners and the American Legion Husted Pendleton, Wyoming Post 114 for the Albany County Victim Witness Program of the Albany County and Prosecuting Attorney's Office for 112 South Fifth Street.
Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
So
Jennifer.
this item 20 and item 21 go together. Our rent in 112 is split between victim witness and our office, the main office part. It's been that way since they leased the building because it used to be that victim witnesses grant paid part of the rent. I think now it's still in Bailey's county match, so we have to keep it separate, but it's for the same building. It just splits the rent, not quite in half. So do you have any other questions for me?
I move that we approve the lease agreement between Albany County Board of Commissioners, County Commissioners, and the American Legion, Huston, Pendleton, Wyoming, Post 114 for the Albany County Victims Witness Program of the Albany County and the Prosecuting Attorney's Office for 112 South Fifth Street.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. You did a good job.
I made sure it's up.
It was the 4 and I thought it should be at, and I was getting hung up there. Item 21, present for approval lease agreement between the Albany County Board of Commissioners and the American Legion Husted, Pendleton, Wyoming Post 114 for the Albany County and Prosecuting Attorney's Office for 112 South Fifth Street. Jennifer.
This is the second part of that lease that we just discussed.
I move that we approve the lease between the Albany County Board of County Commissioners and American Legion, Huston, Pendleton, Wyoming Post 114 for the Albany County and Prosecuting Attorney's Office for 112 South Fifth Street.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I think it should have been at too. It sounds.
Sorry.
Present for approval agreement between Albany County Board of Commissioners and Ivanson Memorial Hospital for services pursuant to Wyoming statute 25-10-101 through 25-10-127. Jennifer.
This is the contract that we have with Ivanson Memorial Hospital for our emergency detention holds. We contract with IMH and they bill us at the Medicare rate, which is $1,355 a day. This contract has been sent to IMH a couple weeks ago. I have not heard any comments back. I told them I was putting it on this agenda. If something has to change, I will let you know, but my intention is to send this to them because they've had a couple weeks to look at it. And I have not heard of any changes.
Any questions?
No.
No. And just to Commissioner Hoff, that many commissions, many counties contract for behavioral health services at
Sure.
the Medicaid rate,
Oh,
which
yes.
is less. And just to give you a little bit of, if you didn't know that, so.
The last,
this is
Medicaid rate I looked at was like $761 a day. It's just over, not quite half less.
okay.
Yeah.
And this is just for the Title 25
Correct,
only.
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I did notice there was some verbiage about the compensation and payment rates. The second part of that was if there's still an outstanding balance due, and
Yes,
it's,
that's all from statute. So statutorily, the county is obligated to pay for the first 3 days, which excludes weekends and holidays. So
okay.
the most we've ever ended up paying for, I think, was 5 days.
And it's not a matter of the county not paying. I think this has been
No.
emphasized over and over. It's at what rate the county is
Correct.
willing to repay.
And for this, we get a bill, our office gets a bill every month. We compare it to what we had for Title 25 holds, we raise, because we are only obligated to pay for those residents of Albany County. So if they are Colorado residents or residents of a different county, those are generally not on our bill.
But if there is to be an emergency detention, your office is always involved.
We are not always involved.
Not always.
We always get notice.
Okay.
We are not involved unless IMH makes the determination that that patient is going to need to be held beyond the initial 72 hours.
But your office is aware that somebody is being held.
Yes.
It's not okay.
We get notification both from law enforcement and from the hospital.
So just that question brings another question to mind. If somebody is scheduled for emergency detainment and they are above the legal alcohol limit or they're dangerous, where does that person go?
So In 2024, the statute was changed so that alcohol and substance abuse cannot be a factor in that detainment. So they, oftentimes our law enforcement officials, they can't make the determination. Somebody may be intoxicated, but that doesn't mean it's not their depression or their underlying mental health issues that are causing what's going on. So our law enforcement takes them to the hospital. The hospital has to do an evaluation within the first 24 hours to either uphold that detention or to release that detention. And then there's a requirement for reevaluation every 48 hours at a minimum. If someone does not meet the legal criteria for being emergency detained, which is you have no option to leave, we are holding you under the power of the statute. They do have the option to either to voluntarily commit themselves or to leave. We don't have the ability at that point to hold them under the emergency detention statutes. If they have committed crime or something that would allow them to be held by law enforcement, that's a different determination if this is not upheld. But if there's no underlying criminal action that would require detention, like in the detention center, the hospital is required to let them go.
If they're dangerous, the hospital says they're dangerous to their staff, where does that person go?
It depends. We have ongoing issues with that. Some of them, so BHS at the hospital is limited in the number of aggressive patients they can take. They only have, I think, 2 restraint rooms. I don't think they're restraint rooms, but I think they're isolation rooms to minimize your ability to hurt yourself or anybody else.
Mhm.
They usually reserve 1 for juveniles and 1 for adults. Sometimes those are full and they don't have the ability to take them. If the person, we have the option to be able to hold them at the detention center, we try really hard to not do that because that is absolutely not the best for mental health. If somebody has to be held beyond the 72 hours, we look at having them either move to WBI in Casper, or if Cheyenne has room. We have not had to do that in a really long time.
Thank you, Jennifer. I
You're welcome.
appreciate that answer. I move to approve the agreement between the Albany County Board of Commissioners and the Ivanson Memorial Hospital for services pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 25-10-101 through Wyoming State Statute 25-10-127.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 23, present for approval fiscal year 2026 contract for services for victims of crime between the state of Wyoming, Office of Attorney General, Division of Victim Services, and Albany County Commissioners in the amount of $207,975. Federal funds include VAWA-CFDA number 16.588, VOCA-F-CFDA number 16.575, state funds including state victim witness, state surcharge funds from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Bailey, so
Sorry
nice to
about
see you
that.
again.
I guess I'll cut it down. That's the same wording I've used every year I've been here. So I'll cut it down next year. This is just the agreement for our crime victim witness program for that funding. That program at this point actually only funds the personnel out of it. That is all. And it doesn't even fund all the personnel. So
Is that about the same as last year? Or?
that is the exact same as last year. They've just kind of adjusted how much we're getting, like more VAWA dollars as opposed to VOCA dollars. So they just kind of change up what we're getting. So VAWA has the most requirements on it because that's the sexual assault funding. So only like 2 of our personnel can actually be paid from that because they're the only ones that work on the sexual assault cases. So it takes a little juggling, but it is the exact same total amount as last year. Yep.
I have nothing. I'll move that we approve the fiscal year 2026 contract for services for the victims of crimes between State of Wyoming, Office of the Attorney General, Division of Witness Services, and Albany County Commissioners, Albany County Victims Witness Program in the amount of $207,000 or $207,975. Federal funds include VAWA-CFDA number 16.588, VOCA-6 CFDA number 16.575, state funds, including state victims witness, state surcharge funds, but from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 24. Request a statement of the receipts and expenditures of the county during the preceding 12 months, setting forth the source and amount of all receipts and the purpose and the amount of all expenditures to be prepared upon reconciliation of all accounts by the county treasurer and county clerk not later than September 30th, 2025 pursuant to Wyoming statute 18-3-515. Kayla, good morning.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is statutorily my request to request for statement of receipts and expenditures from you. Tracy and my office, the treasurer's office and my office prepare those statement of receipts and expenditures, and then we advertise them, and then we'll come back later with those.
I move that we request a statement of the receipts and expenditures of the county during the preceding 12 months, setting forth the source and amount of all receipts, the purpose and the amount of all expenditures to be prepared upon reconciliation of all accounts by the county treasurer and the county clerk no later than September 30th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Kayla. Item 25, present for approval letter to Nancy Bartholomew, Laramie City Clerk, to allow Wycola Lodge LLC for Brad's Big Bad Bike Show held at the Albany County Fairgrounds located at 3510 South 3rd Street, Laramie, Wyoming, on July 12th from July 12th, 2025 from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. Kayla.
Morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. This is a letter to the city clerk allowing Wycola Lodge to use their liquor license within city limits. Of course, the fairgrounds is within the city limits. That's where the event is. So they get their catering permit from the city, but we have to give them permission to use their license within the city limits. So
I'm moving that we approve the letter to Nancy Bartholomew, City of Laramie Clerk, to allow Wycola Lodge LLC for Brad's Big Bad Bike Show held at he'd be just hiding behind something if he knew that was the name of it. At the Albany County Fairgrounds location at 3510 South 3rd Street, Laramie, Wyoming, on July 12th, 2025 at 3 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 26, present for approval resolution 2025-011, a resolution opposing mandatory disposal of federal lands in Albany County, Wyoming.
Madam Chair, I brought this to the commission as the big beautiful bill has wrapped its way through Congress. There was an initial taking it or mandatory of federal lands in Albany County. Some of those wasn't really defined, but from what we talked about, it was incredibly important lands to people in Albany County. Heard a lot. I personally had said against it, so I thought bringing a resolution for this body to say we're not in favor of that. And I'm not sure. I know it's been stripped out of the Senate, but who knows what happens when things pass and go to the other house. And so I just wanted this commission to be on record to say we're not in favor of that at all.
I have to agree. I think everybody in Wyoming should consider themselves public landowners.
Yes.
So.
So do we need to did you do a resolution or just?
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I move that we approve resolution 2025-011, a resolution opposing mandatory disposal of federal lands in Albany County, Wyoming.
Yeah, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We all agree. Fantastic. Item 27, and make appointments to the Albany County Tourism Board.
So there are 2 vacant positions for that.
And 3 applicants.
Are any of them city, county designated?
No, I think they just have to be industry related.
Okay, okay. Because on their board, they had city, county.
Well, they have city appointments, county appointments.
But I don't think they have to live within.
But they
the city.
do have to, there is a requirement from tourism that they do be industry related or have,
Yeah.
be in the field of some kind, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're okay. It's not like planning where 3 have to
Yeah,
be. for-
right,
I
right.
believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And Mr. Finney, I had Manhattan, Kansas listed as his residential address.
So he owns,
Yeah.
the old corral up in Centennial. He's back and forth. His family is there. He's here back and forth. So that's, I think, up to you guys what you would like to.
And I know from their meetings, they do have quite a bit of virtual, just
Yeah.
given the industry that these folks are in, that they're sometimes in an office elsewhere.
Yeah.
So that and that conference room can't hold as many people as they need.
No.
Well, I'd move to approve Patrick Coffey for the Albany County Tourism Board.
We have 2 appointments.
Do you want to do 2?
I'll just do one at a
Do
time.
one at a time? Okay.
I second.
Let's second that, or, okay, third.
I guess we just need to vote on that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries for Patrick Coffey for 2-year term on the tourism board.
And I would, my vote would be for BJ Ben Finney for the second appointment to the tourism board.
I second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, and 2-year term for BJ Finney from the, for the Albany County Tourism Board. Okay. Then item 28, the appointment to the Albany County Public Library Board.
There are 2 vacant positions, but it looks like you only have 1 applicant,
Yeah.
so.
Well, Madam Chair, I would move that we approve Rebecca Garcia to the Albany County Public Library Board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We want to introduce the gentleman from Repsol before we go into executive.
Well, that's
session.
what I did. So I was, Henry, come on up.
I'll bring Derek with me.
Yeah. Thank you, because I could have easily forgotten.
I don't know what all is, or how long the executive session is going to take, so.
Yeah, well, no sense anybody has to wait when they don't need to.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Derek Reeman, the Chief Development Officer at Repsol. I'll be supporting Henry in advancing the Rail Tide Wind Project here in Albany County. I've been with the company for 5 years and overseeing development efforts all across the country. Prior to that, I started my work in the renewable energy industry back in 2009 and held a variety of different development type roles with organizations. And then prior to that was an attorney for 5 years. So it's the background that I bring to the role, and really excited to work with Henry on the project, and happy to answer any questions that the commissioners may have this morning. So thank you for your time.
Derek, have you been with the project since Repsol took over from ConnectGen?
I was a member of the ConnectGen team, so I have been working with the development team since March of 2020 when I joined the organization.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming in. We
But it will be,
really
you
appreciate it.
two as the public facing representatives of the project.
Yeah, that's right. If you have any questions, or if anyone comes to
Okay.
you with questions, you can point them to me.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
How often are you guys in the area?
This is my third trip in the last month and a half, so I'd say,
Fairly often.
But are you out of Texas?
that's right, Houston
Okay.
is home base.
Okay.
Yeah. Believe it or not, this is much easier of an area for me to get to than some of our other projects in Washington, Arizona, et cetera, so.
Thank you.
Again, my apologies for being late, but again, thank you for the
Thank you.
indulgence. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We have a motion to move into executive session.
I move that we move into executive session pursuant to Wyoming statute 16-4-405, subsection A, Roman numeral 2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We move into executive session at 10:42. Now let's see.
Yeah,
You want to know, Snecka?
you pause the recording, right?
Yeah.
Jennifer, we are finished with the issue that was before Judge Scavdall, right?
We are.
Okay.
I don't know that we
Session and
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We return to regular session at 10:53. There was no action needed in the executive session. May I have a motion to approve vouchers?
You approved vouchers for June 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. May I have a motion to adjourn?
May.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The three of you going to be here for just a couple minutes. I just forgot to bring something down for all of you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just long enough for me to run up to my office.
You have to run though.
No, I'm not Amanda.
Right. Only Amanda runs stairs.
Right?
Jennifer, off the top of your head, how much office space is the
Hi.
county looking for? Is
So
it
it's just
30,000
a,
square feet?
Yes.
They had 74.
30 to 35.
So it just.
Okay, so I.
If that